Nick Caley is the new OC for the Houston Texans, but fans cannot stop trying to correlate that any wide receiver from the St. Louis, from the Los Angeles Rams, will be coming over to the Houston Texans. Now, let's talk about it. Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, are these guys good options besides just being Nick Caley guys? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of TheLead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. You won't find anybody with more passion speaking about your favorite Houston sports teams than this guy right here. Astros, Rockets, Texans. I try to do it all. So go down in the comment section. Let me know. Are you a fan of Demarcus Robinson and Tutu Atwell? Because the reason I'm asking is there's been a lot of fans that have just talked about Demarcus Robinson and Tutu Atwell as the two guys that are free agents for the Los Angeles Rams when it comes to the wide receiver department, the two guys that they know off the top of the names. And these two guys have worked with Nick Caley the past 2 years. I understand that there is a direct correlation there, but is there a definite connection with the Texans? Do they want both of these guys? Do they want just one of these guys? I'm going to try to break it down as best as I can. So y'all let me know if y'all even want these guys down in the comment section. Demarcus Robinson first, I think, is the interesting option, and I think the better option. Even though he is older, he is 31 years old. I am still appalled by the stats that this man just put up this previous year. Demarcus Robinson, the former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver that could pop the top off the defense, can still do it at a high level at 31 years old, and had his best 2 years with the Los Angeles Rams, and just this previous year had his best year of his career as Nick Caley took over the pass game coordinator duties. Demarcus Robinson has the best year of his career. If I'm D-Rob, I'd like to come over here to Houston and try to replicate that again, because my goodness, 7 touchdowns. What he had 505 receiving yards, 31 catches. Think about that. 31 of your catches became 7 touchdowns. He had 11 touchdowns in 2 years. Okay, only 1 drop in 2 years. There's something very specific about Demarcus Robinson. He don't drop the football as much as I thought he did. Only 1 drop in the last 2 years with the Los Angeles Rams. Again, 11 touchdowns in 2 years. When he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, in those 5 years, he had 14 touchdowns. So think about this, Texans fans. Nick Caley is here now as your offensive coordinator. You're trying to replicate that success here in Houston with CJ Stroud. I mean, come on. It is just something that you've always wanted, Texans fans, a guy that could pop the top off the defense, and he can do that still at 31 years old. Good size, too. He is 6'1", 202, so hey, nothing wrong with that right there. Demarcus Robinson seems like a good veteran wide receiver that the Houston Texans could grab, and it's not going to be very costly. He was currently making $4 million this previous year on Spotrac. His market value is set at $3 million. I would not be upset if the Texans gave him $5 or $6 million, because I think he would be worth every dollar. A good veteran wide receiver, you can never have enough of those. And again, this doesn't shy you away from drafting someone either. So Demarcus Robinson, hell yeah, bring him over to Houston and let Nick Caley continue to cook with him. The other guy is a lot younger in Tutu Atwell, who's currently 25 years old. Very similar build to Tank Dell. 5'9", 170 is currently listed. He looks a little bigger than that. Maybe I could be wrong. Tutu Atwell, though, very solid wide receiver. Another guy that can pop the top off the defense. And when it comes to Tutu Atwell, the only problem is he just doesn't score touchdowns. But hey, 7 of them just went to Demarcus Robinson this previous year. None of them went to Tutu Atwell. He had 42 catches for 562 yards and 0 touchdowns. Tutu Atwell is somebody that is a very promising player considering he's still only 25 years old. I do wonder if the Texans want to grab somebody of his height and weight distribution, considering you already have a guy like that in Tank Dell. Unless this is just a 1 year deal, who knows what happens there? I don't think he would accept a 1 year deal. He's young. Plus, he has Drew Rosenhaus Sports running his agency, so I would expect him to get a pretty good deal and off of potential maybe. But even so, I mean, just his current what he made this previous year, he made about $1.5 million. His current market value on Spotrac was listed at 4 million. So I mean, I would not be upset at grabbing him for 5 million. Would not. Tutu Atwell, again, explosive, dynamic player that can be used primarily in pre-snap motions. You can use him in the slot. You can use him a little bit outside as well. And then he has versatility, and that might be what the Texans really like, because his versatility is he does kick returns and punt returns as well. And when you think about it, Texans fans, you don't got nobody to do that. Yes, Dameon Pierce is still on this team, but I still think they're going to be looking elsewhere at the running back position, especially in the draft. We could talk about that in a separate video, but Tutu Atwell can be in special teams, kick return, punt return, unlike Demarcus Robinson, who's never really done it in his career. Very seldom that he's ever taken a kick return or punt return. So Tutu Atwell, a little bit younger, maybe could cost a little bit more because of his youth, but lots of potential. Nick Caley working with him. I mean, it sounds like a very good idea to have him paired up with CJ Stroud in a familiar scheme here in Houston, and we can turn that goose egg of the touchdowns he had this previous year into hopefully what Demarcus Robinson just put out at 31 years old. I would not mind either of these options, and I can now understand why Texans fans want one or even both of these guys to be suiting up in Texans uniforms next year. It makes a ton of sense. Demarcus Robinson, man, I could not believe the numbers he was putting up under Nick Caley, especially last year. I mean, he had his highest yards per reception, 16 yards a reception. Okay, that's the highest in his career underneath Nick Caley as the passing game coordinator. That's exciting to hear. The Houston Texans could land one of these guys. You would hope they land one of them as a fan, and I can't wait, man. This was a fun free agency. There's a boatload of bargain bin wide receivers. I've talked about this many times. Very thrifty spending that the Houston Texans and Nick Caserio could be going into, and I love the idea. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.